Hello, in this video we're going to discuss what happened when Jesus died, part 4. So the first thing we're going to discuss is what Jesus actually said on the cross while he was dying. He did not say, "Father, please forgive them, for they not know what they are doing." He was complaining and cussing, but he did not say the words mentioned there. Prior to the crucifixion taking place, where he was nailed to the cross and it was supported by the ropes, Jesus was given the opportunity to say something before the ropes were released. So how crucifixion works is when the ropes are released, the pressure is put on the stomach and the chest. All the weight goes there and it compresses the lungs, meaning that you cannot hardly breathe. So prior to that, Jesus said his last words, and they were, "I am ready." So that's in fact Jesus' last words. Some other things about it: there was no spear present when Jesus, after Jesus had died on the cross, and there's no breaking of the legs either. That's not how crucifixions are carried out. It's a execution that involves the person being punished throughout the duration until they die. So people don't wait until the next day and then stab them with a spear or anything like that to check that they're dead. They just leave them there. So there's no spear stabbing in the side. When the body was recovered, there was no spear present. Also, the other thing I have to mention was there was no vinegar on the hill at all. So no one gave Jesus any vinegar. It was in fact water, and that was it. And it was in order to restore Jesus' fluids, because he was severely dehydrated. So there was one instance where he drank water, and that was it. That was prior to being pulled up onto the cross. It was in fact a Roman soldier who did it, not the executioner, someone else. The atmosphere up there, everyone was crying, including the one doing the execution. So no one was happy up there. Satan, who possessed Herod, was also crying because he was kicked out. He wanted to witness the spectacle, but he was kicked out. The guy doing the crucifixion refused to do the crucifixion if Herod was present. There was a fight and an argument, and then Herod was escorted to the bottom of the hill. Back in those days, with regard to the incident where Mary and Mary Magdalene were forced out of their home the next day, after on the Saturday, back in those days, when the male in the house had died, who was the one who earned all the money, people would go into the house and force out the family that was living there and rob everyone. And the families that were kicked out onto the street always died of starvation. So that was a practice that happened back then. Angels were sent to earth to bring a stop to it, and then what happened was hundreds of years later it came back. So it is something that Satan was responsible for, and has happened throughout history. I do not know if it's happening nowadays. I certainly hope not. For the crucifixion, 2 Roman legions gave their wages to the executioner. So They were searching the town looking for someone to carry out the crucifixion who knew how to do it. There's only one person there who could actually do a crucifixion, and a Roman legion gave him their wages to do it. Then after the crucifixion, after Jesus had died on the cross, and there was an earthquake, no one would go up the hill, but the Romans wanted the body taken down. Everyone was scared, so a second Roman legion gave the executioner their month's wages to get the body down. And of course I mentioned that he had to do it on his own because no one else would go up the hill. Mary of Magdalene married the Roman soldier who escorted Mary out of Jerusalem and into the desert, and they later moved to Rome and lived there. Mary Magdalene is from the Angular transsexual batch in heaven, and she was in fact with a group of angels that were playing tag, that were held prisoner by Satan and his followers 400 billion years ago. And an archangel was sent to fight Satan and his followers, and rescued all the people that were held captive and returned them to their batches. So when that incident occurred, there were people playing tag on a field, and then Satan and his followers, it's about 4,988 of them, surrounded the people playing tag and wouldn't let them out. And Satan was trying to force them all to join him, all the males. All the females he didn't want anything to do with, but he held them captive anyway. So Angel was among those people who were held captive and was rescued. Joseph was in fact God, and Joseph fell in love with Mary, and they made love when they were 16, and that is when how old they both were when Mary became pregnant. When Mary became pregnant, it was through intercourse, not how it's portrayed in the Bible with her, with Mary being a virgin and getting pregnant. So that's another mistake that's in the Bible, and it's because of Satan's influence that the story's been altered this way. The apostles were all from the Gabriel batch, except 2 who were from the Moses batch. So they're all archangels from heaven. And Judas Iscariot was in fact a archangel from heaven, and he had to betray Jesus in order to make the crucifixion happen. So he was actually an angel who's a martyr. I am the Archangel Daniel, and I'm from heaven.